Hey guys, welcome back to another episode by BW2 to another ranking video, to another 24 A24 films. So yeah, you guys know I made one of these a few months ago where I ranked 24 A24 movies, but I didn't even realize until like halfway through that video. I was just like, oh, I've seen 24, this is so perfect to make the video right now. So then I made it a goal to watch 24 more, to make it 24 more A24 movies. So I have seen 24 more, and you may also be thinking, why did it take you like years to see 24 and 3 months to see 24 more? But that's because if you guys haven't seen the first video, I made it, yeah, like 3 months ago, ranking 24 A24 films. But the reason that one took me years to watch all of those is because like I was just watching movies. I don't even think I realized like halfway through that they were like all A24, and like I didn't realize until I watched a ton of them that I was actually like obsessed with A24. But now I know, and like I talk about A24 probably too much, and yeah, I go out of my way to see A24 movies. But also the reason why is because like I haven't been renting all these and stuff. I actually figured out about Showtime because I got Hulu to watch like Pam and Tommy and Fresh and whatnot. And then I realized, like, why are, like, all the A24 movies free on this, if I have Showtime? And I figured out that Showtime is, quote, the home of A24. Apparently, all A24 movies just go to Showtime for free. So I expanded my Hulu subscription to get Showtime, and just made a list and watched A24 movies. Sometimes I was watching upwards of 2 or 3 movies a day, yeah. Then I spaced it out, and I watched 24. I was kind of waiting to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, because it went into theaters late March, and but it was wide release, and then it said it was going to be everywhere April 8th. But of course, everywhere rarely means our theater, and it did not come to our theater, so I'm just going to have to wait to see that. Really excited for it though, because I hear it's like one of A24's best, and yeah, it's holding like a 9-star on IMDb right now or something. And yeah, it seems really, really good, so I cannot wait to see that. Sadly, I just haven't been able to see it yet. But if you haven't seen the last video, these are the movies that I ranked last time. I watched these again. I watched these over a course of probably 4 or 5 years or so. So these ones, I've seen all of these in the past like 3 months. So yeah, so let's get into it. I think I talked about everything that I needed to say. Yeah. Yeah, I just really want to see Everything Everywhere All at Once. Still need to see Red Rockets. And that they released some trailers for like the prequel to X, as well as the movie, I can't remember what it's called, something Snail with Shoes or whatever. That looks pretty darn cute and good. And also Men and whatnot. But that'll probably be on the next one, whenever that is. So yeah. But I think I've seen 48, so I've seen a lot of the A24 movies, so it might be a little bit until there's another one. But anyway, you guys are probably getting bored of me talking, so yeah, so 24 more right here. And again, I still have yet to find a A24 movie that I didn't like. There's some of them, again, just like the last one, there's some that I like wasn't obsessed with. There's some that were just like good, but again, they like none of them that were like bad. There's just some that I was like, okay. Yeah. Still not any that are bad. So starting off with Zola, or at Zola, literally movie about like a Twitter thread and whatnot, of a big old like story about some like sex workers being brought into like something bigger than they think, and just being exploited and whatnot. Yeah, it's one of those movies where it's just like it looks like just a trashy comedy. I'm not really into just like trashy comedies usually, but A24, when they put their touch on stuff, it makes it good. And yeah, I watched it with my mom. And it was actually like pretty darn genuinely funny and well made. Of course, they always have like those good camera techniques and everything. It's like no matter what the movie is, they always like make it feel like an actual like good film too. Yeah, so I'll probably put that in like B tier because I thought it was actually pretty darn funny. Yeah, it kind of seemed like a little long. And then also it was, there throughout it, like they were like saying things that were included in the Twitter thread, and every time that happened, there was like the Twitter notification, and that didn't bug me too much, but sometimes it was like a lot, and I was just like, man, there's a lot of Twitter notification sounds in here. Yeah, I'm gonna put that there. Yeah. But next up is mid-90s. Probably gonna put this, Probably gonna put this in C tier. I was just expecting to like it a lot more. I still liked it, but for some reason, I don't know what it was. I would say if it was just my TV, but all these other movies looked fine. For some reason, this movie was so dark. Yeah, just on my TV, like, I wasn't watching it at night or anything. I was watching it during the day, but it just looked dark. Like, it takes place in LA, and it just looked like they had, like, sunglasses over the lens or something. So I don't know what that was all about, but also just the acting is not the greatest from most of the people. Yeah. But it did have, I can't remember his name. He's in
my younger days, I used to sport a shag. When I went to school, I carried lunch in a bag with the apple for my teacher, cause I knew I'd get a kiss. Always got mad when the class was dismissed, but when it was a session, I always had a question. I would raise my hand to make a snack or do my chest. Can't help me with my problem, it was never much. Just a trick to spell it.
Okay, bad news, boys. So my hotkey to end filming on OBS is 9. So when I went to click in the 9 on mid-90s, I stopped filming. And as you can tell, I just finished filming the whole video that was like 40 minutes long, but I thought the whole time that I thought I was filming. Apparently I was not. So now I gotta refilm it, but everything's already ranked, so I guess I'll just go through it. Now, that just really sucks, because I literally talked about, like, every movie and everything and went into detail, and then just realized that none of it filmed. Like, that sucks so bad. It's happened a few times before. Oh my god, okay. So, I guess we pretty much went through Zola in mid-90s. I can't remember what all I talked about mid-90s. Yeah, so we went through with those two. But I guess we'll just start here. It sucks because there's so much I want to say on each movie that I already have said, but I don't want to, like, re-say everything because I want to refilm this whole video. So up in S tier we have American Honey, one of the longer movies from A24. It's like 2 hours and 40 something minutes, but it's just got that feel that A24 does so well, where everything's like really gloomy and kind of down and everything. And everything just feels hopeless, but at the same time, it's just hopeful. And yeah, movie about like people going around, like regular life doesn't work out for them, so they kind of band together in a van and go around the country selling magazines and stuff. But yeah, just a really feel good kind of movie, I think, in the end. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was just really enjoyable, I think. So next up is Waves over here in S tier. It's actually the movie that like made me want to get Showtime in the first place, because I really want to see it. I just really like the colors and everything, and it's got a soundtrack with like Tyler the Creator and Frank Ocean, I believe Tame Impala, whatnot. And not many movies have soundtracks by them, with songs by them. So I thought that was really cool, and yeah, I really liked it. Of course, it's an S tier. But yeah, the first half I liked better. It's like the brothers story, and yeah, it's really chaotic and depressing and shocking and whatnot.
You drunk? Yeah, I'm fucking drunk. What you gonna fuck me?
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Get the fuck off me, nigga!
Are you okay, babe?
Talking all that shit.
Don't you leave this house, Tyler. Don't you leave this house, Tyler!
In the second half, I didn't like as much, but I still really liked it. But it's his sister's story after everything that happens to her brother happens. So yeah. But yeah, those are the 2 S tier movies here. Last time we had 3. But yeah, so next up is in A tier, The Spectacular Now. Another really good feel-good movie until like as it goes on, and then the end, you kind of just realized it was really depressing, and he pushed away everybody in his life and like didn't even graduate, and just pretty much his whole life fell apart, and you're just like, dang, by the end of it. Yeah, just still a really enjoyable movie.
Do it. Say it.
Mom, get off of my fucking back.
Motherfucking.
Fuck! Motherfuck!
Go.
Motherfucking!
Motherfuck. Yes.
Get off my motherfucking back, Mom!
Yes.
God!
God.
Yeah!
Motherfucking. That's good.
Awesome.
Good. Who else? Who else?
Still. And then next up is The Green Knight, directed, this one I wasn't able to see. I said I wanted to see it in the last video, and I had people telling me that I need to see it, and I was just like, I just can't yet. But I finally did get to see it. It's directed by David Lowery, the guy who directed A Ghost Story. As you guys know, one of my favorite A24 movies, is an S tier last video. In this one I didn't like as much, but I will say, it has like the most like epic and large scale of any A24 movie, and some shots are just so cool to look at. And the ending montage showing what could have been, and why in the end he just accepted his fate from the Green Knight, it really wraps it up nicely. At first I didn't understand it, but then once I did, it made it better. Yeah.
One year hence.
Next up is X. This one's one of the newer ones, and this one actually came to our theater. Like, I don't know if I already talked about Everything Everywhere All at Once, not going to a theater, but yeah, like I was saying when I thought I was recording, the only other movies that I believe came to our theater from A24 was, like, I believe maybe Midsommar, Hereditary, and X. I don't know if any of the other A24 movies came to our theater. Maybe Spring Breakers back in the day, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I don't know. But yeah, this one did, and I went by myself, of course, so I got ID'd. And then when I gave the ticket to the guy, he was like, "You sure you know what you're getting yourself into?" And I was just like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of A24." And I don't know if he knew what I meant, but I meant like, "Oh, I've seen Tusk, I've seen Midsommar, I've seen The Lighthouse." So yeah, so I've been disturbed enough. But yeah, this one, again, it would have just been like a kind of dumb slasher horror movie, but it feels so fresh and new and whatnot because it's directed by TOS and distributed under A24, and yeah, it was really disturbing, but also just really good theater experience because like there's only like 10 other people in the theater. They're all at ranging from like my age, but there's also like an older, but there's also like these two like 60-year-old women or something, and they're just getting a kick out of the movie. But yeah, and you guys know how like kid movies, kids always have to like repeat the jokes or respond to it, and it just like ruins the joke. This time there was like people responding to the jokes, but it kind of just made it more funny. And yeah, I just felt like the audience, being with an audience for this movie, everyone just felt more free to laugh and respond to jokes, and just was a really good audience experience, I think. Although it was awkward because, I mean, it's a movie about like these people who go to like a ranch to make a porn. So the first half kind of felt like watching porn in a theater with other people. So that was kind of awkward, but yeah. Yeah, and apparently this one actually had an after credit scene, which I did not know until I went home and searched it up, because I thought it was so weird, because A24 like has never done a prequel or a sequel or an after credit scene. I thought A24 was very against that. They just made like single one-off original films, but I guess not with this one. So I guess there's actually a prequel coming later this year. So yeah, so I guess I'll have to see that. But yeah, it's basically a movie about like enjoy your youth because beauty and stamina does not last forever.
I'm nothing like you.
You're kidnapping, murdering sex fiends. I'm a fucking star. The whole world is gonna know my name.
Say it, now.
I will not accept a life I do not deserve.
do not deserve.
So next up is Come On, Come On. My mom actually told me about this because we were talking about like Joaquin Phoenix and whatnot. She actually told me about this back in like December or something. And yeah, this is actually the last movie I saw on this list, the 24th one. Watched it just a few days ago with my mom. And yeah, it's really good about like a radio journalist going around the country to talk to kids about like the future and stuff. And he takes his nephew with him because his mom is dealing with her bipolar husband. And while she's dealing with that, he kind of takes his nephew around the country with him and gets to know him and bond with him and everything. And yeah, just like the music, the soundtrack, and like the shots and everything. It was just a really like relaxing movie. Like, I'm not saying it felt like Brokeback Mountain, but it just like Brokeback Mountain is just a really relaxing to watch movie for me, and it kind of felt like that. The only thing is it was all in black and white, which doesn't bug me or anything. It's just I like when movies actually use black and white to their advantage or whatever, and I don't really feel like this one did. Because the shots where it's like while he's like interviewing the kids or whatever, there's always like shots of like the city and whatnot, and it looks really good in black and white. But other than that, the movie just looks to be in black and white, and I didn't really feel like it was serving a purpose. But yeah, really good movie still. And the next one is A Prayer Before Dawn here in A tier. Another really gritty, gross, kind of disturbing one. It's a biographical film about the boxer Billy Moore stuck in a Thailand prison, I believe Thailand, which the prisons are a lot more gritty and whatnot over there, and they're not like nice cells and stuff. It's just like a cage box that they put people in, and yeah, they kind of got a little boxing thing there that he kind of uses to get his life back on track because he's like addicted to heroin or something. It had like some different name because of course it's in like Thailand or whatever. Pretty sure it's just like heroin. I don't know. Not a heroin user myself. But yeah, I just really enjoyed it, but it's definitely a harder to watch movie. But next up is Skin. If you like American History X, which I definitely do, seen it a couple times, you'll like this one. It's kind of got the same story of like a neo-Nazi trying to get out of that life, but of course it's really hard to get out of that life, so it's very depressing. Even though he's getting out of that life and everything, the whole process of that is really depressing. And yeah, it doesn't have like the cringy curb stomping scene from American History X, if you know what I'm talking about. But there's also just a lot of other scenes that are just horrible. I mean, they're good scenes, but they're just not fun to watch, really. But yeah, really good movie. Definitely my favorite performance by Jamie Bell, I'd say. And yeah.
What do they know, Babs? Huh? What do they know?
Next up is First Reformed. I was going to watch this a while ago on Netflix, but we ended up watching something else or whatever, but I finally got around to watching it. Not directed by the same guy, but had the same feel of a ghost story and kind of had like the same like long shots and stuff. Yeah, I thought it was pretty darn good. A lot of people say it's like the modern day Taxi Driver, which kind of felt like that. And it had a good message because, and kind of one they can like kind of see, because it starts with like this, I can't remember what role he had, but not like a pastor or whatever. But he went to this guy because his wife was pregnant and he wanted to get her to get an abortion, because not because he didn't want the kid, but because he was saying he was like an environmental activist, whatever, and he was saying by the year 2050 she's only going to be like 25 or whatever, and the world's going to be terrible, and she's going to be mad at him because she's going to say like, why'd you bring me into this world if you knew it was going to be terrible? So he doesn't want to do that for her sake, and he was planning to suicide bomb stuff to get back at humans or whatever, and he just ended up killing himself.
Can God forgive us? For what we've done to this world?
Who can know the mind of God?
And so then by the end of the movie, Ethan Hawke's character is about to suicide bomb like this big meeting at his church, the First Reformed Church, and decides not to, and then wraps himself in barbed wire and is about to drink Drano, but sees his girl and drops it and then hugs her. And then it seems like everything ends all nice, but really a lot of people have been talking about the ending, and it could not have ended that nicely, and he actually did drink the Drano and kill himself, whatever. So yeah. But yeah, really good. So next up is The Witch, last one in A tier here. One of the more popular A24 movies, I'd say, but yeah.
Where's that little man? Boom! There you are. There you are. Boom!
It's got Anya Taylor-Joy and was directed by Robert Eggers, who directed The Lighthouse, which is really good, of course, and is also directing a Nosferatu movie, which I've not seen Nosferatu. I don't know if you guys know what he is or whatever, but I don't even know all that, but I think it's going to be so good. I don't know if it's going to be distributed by A24, but I feel like it will just because it's directed by Robert Eggers, who's worked with them before, but it's also starring 2 actors that work with A24 sometimes, like Anya Taylor-Joy and Willem Dafoe, and Willem Dafoe as Nosferatu sounds amazing, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, so The Witch was pretty darn good. It's basically like this family on this settlement that starts having terrible things happen to their family, and it's like witches and stuff, and the dad starts blaming his eldest daughter, Anya Taylor-Joy, of being a witch, and then by the end she figures out like, oh, maybe I am, and then joins a witch, what are they called, coven. So yeah, pretty darn good and disturbing. Felt a lot like The Lighthouse, of course. So yeah, so I really hope I didn't cut out everything I need to say about mid-90s, but I think I said everything I needed to about Zola and mid-90s. So next up is B tier. So of course we got Zola, but next up is The High Life. It's got Robert Pattinson, which while I was making this, watching all these movies, of course I was also on like a Robert Pattinson kick, because I just love him as an actor. Of course he was in a lot of the movies on the last one, like Good Time in the Lighthouse. I believe that's it. But while I was watching all these movies, I also, of course, went and like saw the Batman. But he's also been like The Devil All the Time, and yeah, I just love him in everything I've seen him in. You might be saying like, well, what about Twilight? He's a little sissy boy. I don't know. I feel like I've seen like 2 of the Twilight movies, but I'm not even sure. But everything I've seen him in, he's been amazing in. And yeah, this movie. Usually I'm not a big fan of like. There's a lot of movies where people are trapped in space or whatever. This one is the same thing, but I feel like I like how this one bounced between the stories about like how he got stranded in space, current day, and then also the future with like his daughter that he had, a little more grown up and whatnot. And then the ending was kind of trippy because like they literally like fly into a black hole, and earlier in the movie they sent somebody to fly into a black hole, and she just got stretched out like a noodle. So it appears that they made it successfully through a black hole, so it either ended like just showing that like the last people stranded in space kind of just ended badly, or they made it to a new galaxy through a black hole or something. But yeah, basically it's all terrible. It's also all the people trapped in space. The story, like, of course, current day, it's literally just him and his daughter, but in the past story, it shows that he's actually with a lot of other people. It was a nurse, and then who wasn't that good of a lady in herself, but then everybody else was just prisoners who they like basically just sent to space to experiment. So you can just see where that goes. Some parts do get disturbing and gross and whatnot. But next up is Under the Skin, a very weird movie. Last A24 movie had like the most of the A24 movies that are just like really disturbing or weird. This was there's a few on this list, but this is definitely the one that has that feeling the most. It's like quiet and whatnot, but it's just so weird. Like she lures men off the streets and just like brings them in, just like gets them naked or whatever, and then brings them into like this just pitch black room that's like giant and has like this black goo ocean that she kind of just walks over, and then they walk into slowly and just walk into casually, and then they kind of just float in the infinite abyss until they just kind of poof into like a plastic bag looking thing and just have their souls eternally trapped or whatever. And in the end is like this guy, this like hunter dude, like splits her back and discovers that she's not a human and she's like a black alien thingy, and so he like sets her on fire, and then she kind of just walks into a forest, and then it's just a pile of burning ash, and it just ends right there. So yeah, so weird, but it was also, I guess I figured out on IMDb, none of like the dudes had profile pictures, and apparently they were like not even actors. I saw a thing saying that apparently those were actually just dudes that they lured off the street into a van, and then once they were in the van, they like told them that they were in a movie, and then I guess they just agreed because I don't know, might be cool to be in a movie. But yeah, it was kind of surprising too, because I mean, like everybody was like a good actor in the movie, so yeah, it's just kind of weird because I guess you can just lure men like that. But I feel like a lot of them, like some of them had to recognize that that was Scarlett Johansson. They're just like, oh heck yeah, I'm getting lured into a van by Scarlett Johansson. All right. But yeah, really good movie. I don't think I'd watch it too often, but yeah, just weird and good, but quiet. So next up is How to Talk to Girls at Parties. I thought this was gonna, like, a lot of these A24 movies, I always end up saying, like, well, I don't know what to expect from A24, because they're never what I think. And yeah, I thought this was gonna be, like, a quirky coming-of-age movie, but it's actually kind of felt like the Neon Demon a little bit, not as, like, dark and disturbing, but just kind of the feel, and it also stars Elle Fanning. But yeah, but it's actually a movie about, like, just, like, these like punk rocker dudes in London, and this dude like falls in love with this girl that's part of like this weird cult that like desperately tries to blend in with regular London people because they're like these weird duplicating alien people, and she's trying to escape the cult but just like can't, and the cult comes after his little punk rock group and whatnot, and yeah, it's weird, but I like the style of it, and it was fun to watch. So next up is Spring Breakers. I believe one of A24's first movies. I remember seeing like previews and stuff way back then, but I just now watched it like a month and a half ago. Yeah, but it's just with this one, it's not got like the best acting and whatnot. And I feel like the pacing was really fast and everything happened really quick. But I like the ending, how like James Franco's like the two remaining girls are pretty much just like all deranged and go on a whole shootout with the rival gang or whatever, and shoot out the whole place successfully in nothing but bikinis and ski masks, and just escape with a Lamborghini, and the movie just ends. Yeah, didn't really expect it to end like that, but it definitely captures that like early 2010s. It ends with the Ellie Goulding song, because some of her songs still slap. Let's be honest. But yeah, honestly not too bad. It's got James Franco, which, I mean, you know, he's not too up there nowadays, but yeah, just pretty darn good, I'd say.
It's way more than just having a good time. We're different people now. We see things differently. More colors, more love, more understanding. God, it was so nice to get a break from reality for a little while. I know we have to go back to school, but...
So next up is The Kill Team. Kind of disturbing. It's kind of like The Punisher story, but this is actually based off a true story. But The Punisher is like, he was part of like a rogue military team, and he like snitched on them, so they killed his family. This one's kind of like the same thing. He was unaware that he actually, while he's overseas, became part of like a rogue kill team of American troops who basically like didn't go over there to like fight the good fight. They went over there to just like capture whoever they could overseas and just kill them in different ways, and torture them and whatnot. And if you said anything, you'd probably be killed, or somebody that you love would be killed, or whatever. So you either just keep quiet until you're safe or whatever, or you like get killed, or you go to federal prison. So yeah, so pretty disturbing, but pretty darn well made. Yeah. So next up is After Yang, another kind of new one. This one kind of had like the same kind of range sci-fi as Ex Machina, where it's like not like super crazy futuristic stuff, but it's just like, you know, sci-fi where it's just in the future, the more kind of believable future. But yeah, if there's one scene that's really good from this, it's like the intro, they're doing like this online family dance competition, which I believe A24 posted on their Instagram, but if not, you can probably see it on YouTube, but it was pretty darn good.
Keep up. Stay in sync. Terminated.
Babe. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
But yeah, the rest of it's pretty darn quiet of a movie. I was kind of almost dozing off in a few parts, but I stay awake. But it was still really good. And yeah, it's kind of like reminded me of a ghost story, except without like a guy who dies and is a ghost and sees like how life moves on after he dies. It's actually like the Yang right here is actually a son that's a robot, and he like has a malfunction and practically dies. And the father figures out, played by Colin Farrell, figures out that he had like this advanced chip or whatever where he could choose to record certain memories and whatnot. And so throughout the rest of the movie, he's going through memories and figures out that there's like a girl that he met in his life, and he recorded like important family moments and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty sad and whatnot. But yeah, pretty good. Just definitely very slow and quiet. So next up is The Exception. I didn't really think I'd like this just from the poster. For some reason, I don't know, the poster for some reason just made me think I wouldn't like it or something. But honestly, it's pretty darn good. It was well made, really good acting. My favorite performance by Jai Courtney, honestly. Yeah, it's basically like this Jewish maid that lives in the Kaiser's place and has like, I can't remember his name right now, Hitler's right-hand man is like coming to visit and stuff. So she's practically like surrounded by Nazis or whatever, but Jai Courtney's character and the Kaiser are both like kind of on her side trying to get her to escape. So eventually the first half was like but the second half really picks up tension, and it was very high tense. And yeah, they're basically just trying to help her escape and then meet up when they're all safe after the war's over. And yeah, just honestly pretty darn good. It's just another one of those movies where like you kind of watch it once and I think you're good. It's not, doesn't like leave you thinking too much like a lot of the A24 movies that I usually enjoy more, like the ones that really disturb you or stick with you and you keep you thinking and you just remember them really well and whatnot. So next up is 8th Grade. I talked about it when I thought I was still recording, that it kind of reminded me of mid-90s, or it kind of felt the same. At least it wasn't dark. But yeah, just the acting wasn't the greatest, and I don't know if it'll age too well. Like, the main girl is in middle school, and she's like a vlogger kind of person and whatnot. But I don't know. But it's directed by Bo Burnham, which, I mean, he's a pretty talented guy. If you guys have seen A Promising Young Woman, he was really good on that. And he also directed, of course, like, he's comedy specials and stuff, but he, like, most recently Inside, which is one of the best received things of last year, honestly. It was really good and whatnot. So if you haven't seen that, it's on Netflix. But yeah. Yeah, pretty good coming of age story. It's just, I don't know. I didn't think I'd like, or I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. And yeah, but next up is First Cow. Basically a movie about these people that make baked goods, and this rich dude really likes them, but that rich guy has like the only cow in the area, so they secretly go at night to use that cow to make the baked goods, as well as like a bee's nest for like the honey and stuff. So once they make a racket and that rich dude figures out, then they're on a run because that dude wants to kill him for using their cow. But yeah, a really confusing ending at first, but then when you think back to the beginning and then you see how it ends, then you're just like, oh, okay. So if you guys have seen it, you might understand that. You just gotta really pay attention to the beginning and the ending, because I didn't quite, so I had to watch the ending explain video, and then I got it and I enjoyed it a little bit more. But yeah, honestly, just like a really another kind of relaxing movie. It kind of had like a weird feel to it. I don't know why, but yeah, I honestly kind of feel like, if you guys know Lord Huron, it kind of felt like one of their music videos made into a movie, I guess. Lord Huron was actually, they released a trailer for a movie about their Vie Noir album, but that was like 3 years ago, and they've now released another album, so I don't think that's coming out. I don't know why. I really wish it would, because I really would love a movie from Lord Huron, but I don't know. I guess it's the closest we're going to get for now. Sorry, I'm checking this. I'm making sure we're actually recording this time, because I ain't recording this video for a third time. So next up is The Rover. Again, I think Robert Pattinson saved this for me. I would like it still the same, but Robert Pattinson was definitely the best part of it. But it's basically like Dude, Where's My Car, but a lot more gritty and whatnot. It takes place in like kind of the near future. It's like a wasteland, and Guy Pearce's character, definitely like a different role for him too. But basically his one prized possession, his car, gets stolen, so the rest of the movie he just tries finding his car to exact revenge on the people who stole his car. And that's pretty much it.
Just wanna fight. I just wanna fight him. Let's go.
But yeah, Robert Pattinson, he's kind of like a special needs, I think. He kind of reminds me of Lenny, I believe his name was, from Of Mice and Men. But yeah, the ending, or the scene towards the end where he finds his, because part of the dudes that stole his car was Robert Pattinson's character's brother, so they're both threatening to shoot each other and whatnot, and it's pretty emotional, and his acting in that scene was definitely the best scene in the movie. And yeah, once again, really loved Robert Pattinson in that movie. But yeah, so next up is Hot Summer Nights. I think this one I was just hyped up, and that kind of killed it for me. It was still really good. It's just I was expecting it to be like some crazy drug run movie and like the city nightlife of LA, but it was actually them like small time drug dealers in like the suburbs of LA and whatnot. Yeah, but some parts were funny, but then in the end it just got like pretty darn sad and devastating and whatnot. But another really good performance from Timothée Chalamet. I've loved him in everything I've seen him in, and yeah, just not really what I was expecting, I guess. But I think if I knew what I was getting into, I would have liked it a little bit more. But I still really liked it. I just don't know if I could watch it too much more. But yeah.
Hey, whoa, shit, Swallower. Take a step back.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You really made the grade.
Still pretty good. So last up is Locke, the only movie in D tier. Again, not because it was a bad movie or anything. I think it was really well made, especially for what it was, because the whole movie takes place in a car. It's Tom Hardy's character driving on a highway to London or whatever in a car. So how they use like the street and the car and the lights and stuff to film it, it was pretty darn well made. Seeing as that's all they had to work with. And at first it kind of just feels useless because it's just like a movie of a dude driving, but then like when you think about it, it's kind of cool because like everything he goes through on just a drive. But it's basically like a construction worker who like had an affair with like the secretary at his work and got her pregnant. So then as he's driving to her delivery, that's when he tells his wife. So then he's going through like a divorce with his wife over the phone, and he's getting like threatened to get fired from his job on his boss, and he's trying to talk about work stuff with one of his coworkers. And then he's also like calling his son every once in a while and losing trust in him. So he's basically just ruining his life over the phone on a car ride to deliver a baby that he doesn't necessarily want. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but I'm just not usually a fan of movies where they're just like in one small space for the whole movie, because that's one reason why I wasn't like a huge fan of Green Room and whatnot. And yeah, but that is the list. Finally went over it again. So sorry this video you didn't get to like see me putting them up there, but I think I talked about everything that I did the first time that I actually did not record. I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to about all of these movies. So yeah, of course, I will make another one of these videos when I see 24 more A24 movies. I will make a list as I see more of them. But as of right now, I don't know. It will probably be a little bit longer than 3 months, just because I've seen 48 of them, and I don't know how many more A24 movies there are right now. I imagine there's more than 48, but I think I've seen most of the A24 movies that are out so far. So yeah, and as of right now, the only ones I want to, or the only ones I know I want to see is Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I still want to see Red Rocket, and then of course that Snail movie that's coming out, but then also Men, and then the prequel to X. But as of right now, that's all I can think of, and those are all coming out throughout the span of 2022. But I know they'll announce more movies. They've definitely been pumping out a lot of movies lately, so yeah. But now that I have Showtime and whatnot, I'll definitely be able to see them. So yeah, definitely watch out for that video. If you haven't seen the first movie, or the first video, going over my first 24 A24 movies that I've seen, the link will be down in the description, as well as the end screen of this video. Since if you like this one, you'll probably like this one as well. So yeah. But yeah, so that is 24 more. I've officially seen 48 now. So yeah, so I know somebody like commented some of his top 5 right here. So yeah, so again, if you want to comment down below, just tell me like your favorite A24 movies or whatever, and yeah, definitely love to talk to you about any A24 movies. And also if there's any on this list, or this list that I have not seen that you think I should, then recommend that down below, and I'll try to check it out. So yeah, but I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.